and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me.
Butterfly effect. The consequences of changing history. John had always been fascinated by the concept of time travel, and he had spent years perfecting his time machine. He had read every book, watched every movie, and studied every theory on the subject. And finally, after years of trial and error, he had succeeded in building a functioning time machine. Excited by the possibilities, John decided to use his time machine to prevent a tragedy that had occurred in his own lifetime. He knew that he couldn't change the course of history, but he could at least prevent a senseless loss of life. John set the dials on his time machine and traveled back to the year 2001, just days before the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center. He had researched the events leading up to the attacks and had identified the key players involved. John spent the next few days following the terrorists, trying to prevent them from carrying out their plans. He managed to sabotage their weapons and even reported them to the authorities. And on the morning of September 11th, John was relieved to see that the Twin Towers were still standing. But as he watched the events unfold, he realized that he had created a butterfly effect that would alter the course of history forever. The terrorist attacks had been a catalyst for many changes, and without them, the world would be a very different place. John tried to return to his own time, but his time machine malfunctioned, and he found himself stranded in the past. He spent years trying to repair his time machine, but he could never get it to work again. And so John was forced to live out the rest of his life in the past, watching as the world changed around him. He had prevented a tragedy, but in doing so, he had created a new future that he could never have imagined.